The return of North Korean troops to the front lines in Russia's Kursk region after a brief absence signals a significant military and geopolitical shift. Initially deployed as reinforcements for Russia's overstretched army, their renewed presence underscores two critical realities: the failure of Putin's military strategy and Kim Jong-un's calculated effort to provide his forces with real combat experience. Despite Putin's repeated assurances that Russia would secure control over Kursk within weeks, the situation on the ground tells a different story. The Russian military has struggled to reclaim lost positions, and instead of a decisive victory, the region has become yet another front exposing Moscow's vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un is turning Russia's war into a training ground for his troops, using real combat scenarios to prepare for potential future conflicts, most notably on the Korean Peninsula. When Russian forces first attempted to reassert dominance over Kursk, the Kremlin framed it as a straightforward operation meant to showcase Russian military superiority. However, months later, this goal remains unachieved. Ukraine's armed forces continued to hold strategic areas, including the regional center of Sudzha, not only resisting Russian offensives but even advancing in certain locations. The reliance on foreign troops, particularly from North Korea, suggests that Russia lacks the manpower and operational strength to secure its own borders. This echoes previous failures in Donetsk and Luhansk, where years of Russian efforts have yet to bring full control. Russia's inability to mobilize additional troops domestically further highlights its internal struggles. Reports indicate increasing reluctance among Russian citizens to enlist, with many fleeing abroad or actively resisting mobilization. This shortage of willing recruits has forced the Kremlin to turn to foreign allies, including North Korea, to fill gaps on the battlefield. However, North Korean troops, notorious for their outdated equipment and lack of modern training, offer little strategic advantage, instead revealing the depth of Russia's desperation. While North Korea's involvement may seem like an act of loyalty to Moscow, a closer analysis suggests that Kim Jong-un is pursuing his own strategic objectives. For decades, the Korean People's Army has lacked real combat experience, particularly among officers and generals. By deploying troops to Kursk, Kim is effectively using Russia's war as a live-fire training exercise. Unlike Putin, who aims for territorial expansion, Kim is focused on military preparedness, accepting high casualties among his forces in exchange for battle-hardened officers and strategists, aligns with his long-term ambitions, particularly regarding potential future conflicts with South Korea. Reports indicate that North Korea has been closely studying the war in Ukraine, analyzing drone warfare, artillery tactics, and defensive strategies. By embedding his troops in active combat, Kim ensures that his military personnel return home with first-hand knowledge of modern warfare. However, the human cost is staggering. Many reports suggest that North Korean soldiers deployed in Russia face severe logistical issues, including food shortages, inadequate winter clothing, and outdated weapons. Yet, Kim appears undeterred, treating his soldiers as expendable assets, a ruthless strategy that mirrors Putin's use of poorly trained Russian conscripts in futile offensives. The presence of North Korean troops in Kursk reflects a broader pattern of Russia's increasing reliance on foreign military assistance. While the Kremlin initially portrayed its war efforts as a testament to Russian military strength, reality paints a different picture. Over the past 2 years, Russia has sought support from nations such as Iran, China, and North Korea, countries that themselves face international isolation. This dependence raises critical questions about Russia's actual military capabilities. If Russian forces were truly in control, there would be no need for reinforcements from Pyongyang. The deployment of foreign troops suggests that Russia's own military is overstretched and struggling to sustain prolonged combat operations. At the same time, this partnership carries risks for Moscow. North Korea's involvement grants Pyongyang additional leverage, potentially leading to demands for economic aid, advanced weaponry, or political concessions. Given North Korea's already fragile economy, Kim is likely using his participation in the war as a bargaining tool to secure vital resources, further complicating Russia's strategic position. Kursk has become more than just another battlefield in Russia's war against Ukraine. It has turned into a testing ground for future military conflicts. For Putin, it represents yet another failed attempt to regain lost territory. For Kim Jong-un, it serves as a crucial opportunity to assess the effectiveness of his army in real combat. However, despite their respective ambitions, the reality remains unchanged. Russia has failed to achieve its objectives in Kursk, and North Korea's involvement has done little to alter the course of the war. Ukraine's continued resistance is not only preventing Russia's forces from advancing, but also exposing the weaknesses of both the Russian and North Korean military structures. As Ukrainian troops maintain pressure in the region, the limitations of Russia's war strategy become even more apparent. The failure to recapture Kursk further damages Putin's credibility, both domestically and internationally. His inability to deliver on promises of swift victories has led to growing discontent among Russian political elites, military leaders, and the general population. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un's gamble with North Korean troops may yield short-term benefits, but it also highlights the vulnerabilities of his own military. The return of North Korean troops to Kursk is symptomatic of deeper problems within both Russia and North Korea. While Putin struggles to maintain control over occupied territories, Kim Jong-un is using the conflict as a stepping stone for his military ambitions. However, neither leader can escape the reality. Ukraine's resilience is proving stronger than anticipated, and their plans for military dominance are failing in the face of sustained resistance. As the war continues, one thing remains clear: neither Russia nor North Korea has achieved what they hoped for in Kursk, and Ukraine remains unbroken. Despite all of Russia's efforts and those of its allies, the situation on the front lines in the Kursk region remains unstable, with Ukrainian forces continuing to strike at strategically important enemy positions. This not only highlights the effectiveness of Ukraine's military operations, but also underscores the Russian army's inability to maintain control, even over its own territories. Moscow's failures in Kursk reveal yet another critical issue: Russia's increasing economic and military strain. Despite attempts to present a facade of strength, the Kremlin is struggling to sustain prolonged combat operations. The reliance on North Korean troops, coupled with growing shortages in manpower and equipment, exposes the reality that Russia's military is stretched beyond its limits. Ukraine, on the other hand, continues to demonstrate resilience and adaptability. Despite Russia's shifting strategies and foreign reinforcements, Ukrainian forces have not only held their ground, but have also adapted to the evolving battlefield, countering both Russian and North Korean troops with strategic precision. The resilience serves as a stark reminder for Putin and Kim Jong-un that brute force and foreign reinforcements alone cannot guarantee victory. As the war persists, one reality becomes increasingly clear: Russia's military ambitions are failing, North Korea's gamble carries significant risks, and Ukraine remains unbroken in the face of mounting aggression. The battle for Kursk is not just a localized conflict, it's a symbol of broader geopolitical shifts, where outdated authoritarian strategies are being challenged by the unwavering determination of those fighting for their sovereignty. That's all for today, friends. Subscribe to the channel to not miss new videos. This material was prepared by Hustler. See you soon.